When you think about health, do you think about it on a global scale? And how do you integrate it, if you do, with different concepts of medicine? That our traditional Western medicine deals with events. You go to the other part of the world and they're dealing with it holistically as a system. Are those ideas incompatible, or can they be put together in ways that can actually change people's lives differently than either the West or the East has thought about it?
The irony of medicine, although it deals with the human body, which would seem like the most obvious universal application of any technology, it's remained a remarkably provincial process. Unlike, for example, media, which the shows, this one in particular, is going to be seen all over the world. Finance, we have global banking, so I can go to any ATM machine anywhere and withdraw local currency. But medicine, you can't do that. I see the prominence, the growth of complementary integrative medicine, alternative medicine, as the globalization of medicine. It's taking the best ideas that have worked for whatever reason in other parts of the world and start to bring them to this country, just like we've exported Western medicine to most of these other countries. And so if you get a gunshot to the chest, please get me a surgeon. But if I have rheumatoid arthritis, well, there are techniques the Chinese have used for a long time, like cupping and tongue reading with herbal therapies. There are solutions for, from the Amazonian basin, Central Africa. There's multiple different approaches to healing that involve senses we don't even take advantage of. What you hear, the audiotherapy techniques that we now have been using in the operating room, aromatherapy, the smells affect you deep in a visceral way, but they don't require you to process the thought process. That's why you remember something when you smell an item that reminds you of your childhood, even though you don't have any real awareness of it. These are the kinds of assets that are out there that we should harvest from global communities and make it part of global medicine.
The big thesis behind Moonshot is that many of the innovations this time may be created not just in the United States, but could be created by people in the emerging markets where they're getting great education, they have aspirations just as we in the West have had, and if you take the field of healthcare, they clearly have giant problems in healthcare just as we do over here. Do you think it's possible, based on what you've thought about, for entrepreneurs to build new companies in healthcare in other markets besides the US or Europe?
It's not just possible that other economies will stimulate entrepreneurs to come up with better ideas than we have in the West. It's going to happen. It's already happening. When I look even in my own laboratory at Columbia University at the best ideas, they're coming from Pakistan. They're coming from the sub-Saharan continent of part of Africa. I mean, these are not areas that I would normally have thought of huge opportunities for advancement. Interestingly, think about the remarkable human capital trapped. Think of it as like oil would be trapped in stone, trapped in these countries because there's no access to financing and there's no mentoring. Which is why when I have an opportunity to break into a new country and help a generation of young people figure out a new vision for what they could do, oftentimes making far less expensive solutions possible for very common problems. I mean, it's a huge opportunity at every level.
Well, as you know, I don't run companies anymore myself, but I invest in companies and I mentor, and I'm a big believer in mentoring. I never actually had a mentor myself, and I always said, gee, when you're taking high risks, and I've always been a high risk taker, and you're dealing with innovation, there's a lot of turbulence out there, and you can easily become a victim of your own success, but the real learning comes from your mistakes. And it would be great to have another set of trusted eyes alongside you. So mentors aren't cheerleaders. Mentors are people who can add real thoughtful, trustful, as you emphasized earlier, trust is so important, trustful advice at exactly the right moment. So I'm hoping that Moonshot not only encourages entrepreneurs that there are things that they can do, it's the right time to build billion-dollar businesses, but it also encourages people who may have built businesses to think about becoming a mentor. It's an incredibly exciting experience. Or if you are building a business and you don't have a mentor, go figure out how to get one, because they can add an awful lot of value.
The single most important thing in my life have been the mentors. And they came in very unexpected descriptions, different kinds of experiences that I would never have anticipated. And you've been a mentor to me, and I appreciate the fact that you're speaking openly about the need for more mentoring, because it changes and allows people to leapfrog far beyond what they could have imagined going. I had a good friend who had an idea, which was to stop funding new businesses and just fund the people behind them. So imagine if you went into Wharton Business School and said, class, vote on who you think is the most likely to succeed. Take the top 10% of that group, for example, and just fund them. Just give them the money that you would have given them as entrepreneurs once they had a business. Before they have a business, just give them the money and then mentor them. you'll put them on the on the fuel injected model of growth, and I bet you would work well. It's philosophically what you're trying to do emotionally.
Well, that's an incredible insight and great advice. As you know, in Silicon Valley, being smart is just a commodity. There are lots and lots of great ideas out there. People have great ideas every day. In the end, what I found is that what makes the difference between those companies that are really successful, it's always the people. Yeah. And the most successful investors that I respect, always invest in the people. They know the people are eventually going to hit a bump in the road. They're going to need to, their back may be up against the wall. You never give up with those kinds of people that you really want to invest in. And they're the ones who are the winners. Because just being smart, just having a cool idea, it isn't enough.
It is, but as is often said about an idea in the back of a napkin. Yeah. That's all it's worth. Yeah. It's the development that takes time.
Well, Mehmet, this has been terrific. You've added a lot of advice to entrepreneurs that will be watching this all over the world. Thank you so much.
Good luck with Moonshot.
Thank you.